This is me and my family when we first moved to Stewart, Virginia. This is the age I was when I first met Mary Jane. She was a teacher at the high school with my mother. As you can see here, she loved math. Even though I never had her as a teacher, she did help me with my math, especially last summer when I took online statistics. Ugh.
Well, there was really never a dull moment in Miss Taylor's class. There was always something going on. There were a lot of boys in my class, and they were always trying to pull pranks on her, but she always kind of rolled with the punches. There was one boy in our class who could make a sound that made it seem like there was a goat outside the window, and she would always go up to the window and, like, look out and look for the goat, but I think she knew that there wasn't a goat out there, but she just wanted to please the boys. But also, there was just funny things happening in her class every day, but I also just learned a lot from her. She was a great math teacher.
According to her daughter Sarah, Mary Jane started showing symptoms in the spring of 2009. It started with a limp in her right foot. My dad, a local physician, diagnosed her with right foot drop and sent her to a neurologist. My mom was actually the one that convinced her to actually go. After ruling out Lyme disease, cancer, and other diseases, in January of 2010, Mary Jane was diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. According to Sarah, this was her worst fear because she had seen her own mom die of the same disease. She was devastated. However, what I really learned from her is that when you get horrible news like that, you don't just sit around and dwell on it. You make the best of your time and spend it with your loved ones. Sarah and her husband moved back home from Seattle, and the family decided to take a cruise together. When my mom told me the news, I didn't realize the seriousness of the situation. I did realize, though, that my mom was spending more time with Mary Jane than usual. They would play Scrabble together every Tuesday after school, book club. Mary Jane also taught my mom how to crochet. These are just a few of the items they made for me. Mary Jane used to love to golf, so she got set up to meet the famous golfer Tom Watson, who generously donates to ALS research because his caddy had died of it. Mary Jane was also dedicated to spreading ALS awareness. This was one of her Facebook statuses. However, her biggest contribution was at the Wake Forest ALS Clinic sponsored by the ALS Association, which included doing clinical trials and genetic testing to aid in the research in finding a cure. She paid out of pocket for the genetic testing, and they were able to identify the gene mutation that she had. Her disease took a toll on her quickly. She started out with a cane and soon needed a power chair, as well as assistance breathing when it got closer to the end. It was hard on all of us, but I made sure to still keep visiting her and spending time with her, especially this past summer. It would be an understatement to just say we were grateful that Mary Jane got to see her son John get married this past summer. On January 13th, 2013, surrounded by her family and my mom, Mary Jane died in the hospital. However, she doesn't want to be remembered as the woman who had ALS. In Sarah's words, she was the fiery math teacher who stood up for what she believed in. This school year, I decided to rush a sorority. I particularly liked the one I joined, Tri Sigma, because one of their philanthropies is raising money for ALS research, which I made sure to tell Mary Jane as soon as I got in. This past weekend, I volunteered with a girl in my sorority at an event called An Evening of Hope, which raises money for ALS research. It was an auction that local places in Harrisonburg had donated items for. One of the items that caught my eye was a flag signed by the golfer Tom Watson. Volunteering at this event and being around other people who have gone through what I have made me feel a lot better. The best way I can sum up what I learned from all this is by an expression my dad has always told me. Life isn't about the cards you're dealt, it's how you play them. Mary Jane showed me that this is true, as well as make me not take my family and friends for granted. It especially brought my mom and I closer as we witnessed Mary Jane and Sarah's relationship. That's something my mom and I thank Mary Jane for every day.